In the bustling hallways of Lincoln High School, where laughter echoed like thunder and secrets whispered like wind, a single slap shattered the fragile peace of an ordinary afternoon. It wasn't just any slap. It was a public execution of dignity, delivered in the school auditorium in front of 200 wide-eyed students, frozen in their seats during what was supposed to be a routine assembly. The victim? A quiet 16-year-old girl named Mia Thompson, whose only crime was being different in a world that demanded conformity. As the sharp crack of skin against skin reverberated through the room, time seemed to slow, and in that suspended moment, Mia's world tilted on its axis. Little did anyone know, this act of cruelty would ignite a spark that would burn brighter than any flame of revenge, transforming not just her life, but the lives of everyone around her. Mia had always been the invisible girl, the one who blended into the background like a shadow at dusk. With her oversized glasses, freckled cheeks, and a backpack stuffed with sketchbooks instead of the latest gadgets, she was an easy target for those who thrived on power. Born to a single mother who worked double shifts as a nurse, Mia grew up in a modest apartment on the edge of town, where dreams were nurtured on thrift store finds and late-night stories. Her father had left when she was 5, leaving behind a void that Mia filled with art, drawing worlds where heroes always won and kindness reigned supreme. At school, though, reality was harsher. The bullies, led by a sharp-tongued queen bee named Vanessa Hartley, ruled with an iron fist wrapped in designer clothes. Vanessa, the daughter of the town's wealthiest real estate mogul, had everything Mia lacked: popularity, confidence, and a posse that hung on her every word. Vanessa's sidekicks, Jake and Lila, were her enforcers. Jake with his athletic build and sneering grin, Lila with her venomous gossip that spread like wildfire. The bullying started small, as it often does. Whispers in the locker room about Mia's weird drawings, snickers when she stuttered during presentations, and the occasional shove in the crowded halls. Mia endured it silently, burying her hurt in her sketches, where she created characters who fought back with words and wit. But deep down, the pain festered. She confided in her best friend, Alex, a fellow outsider with a passion for books and a heart as big as his collection of novels. Alex, who wore his curly hair like a crown and hid his own insecurities behind sarcasm, was Mia's anchor. "They're just jealous because you see the world in colors they can't even imagine," he'd say, trying to lift her spirits. But even Alex couldn't shield her from the escalating torment. As the school year progressed, Vanessa's attacks grew bolder. It began with stealing Mia's lunch money, then escalated to dumping her art supplies in the trash. Mia's mother, Sarah, noticed the changes: her daughter's withdrawn demeanor, the dark circles under her eyes from sleepless nights. "Honey, you have to tell someone," Sarah urged one evening over a simple dinner of pasta and canned sauce. Mia shook her head, tears welling up. "It'll only make it worse, Mom. I just need to tough it out." Sarah, exhausted from her shifts but fierce in her love, hugged her tight. "You're stronger than you know, Mia. But strength isn't about suffering alone." Those words lingered, but Mia pushed them aside, convinced that speaking up would paint a bigger target on her back. The assembly that fateful day was meant to celebrate the school's upcoming talent show. Students filed in, buzzing with excitement, the air thick with the scent of popcorn from the concession stand. Mia sat in the middle row, sketching quietly, lost in her world. Vanessa, spotting her from across the room, whispered to Jake and Lila. "Watch this," she said with a wicked smile. As the principal droned on about school spirit, Vanessa sauntered up to the stage under the pretense of adjusting the microphone. But instead, she veered toward Mia's row, her heels clicking like a predator's claws. "Hey, freak," Vanessa called out, loud enough for the microphone to catch it. The room hushed. Mia looked up, confusion etching her face. Before she could react, Vanessa's hand flew forward, slapping Mia across the cheek with a force that sent her glasses skittering to the floor. Gasps rippled through the crowd. 200 pairs of eyes bore witness, some shocked, others amused, a few indifferent. Mia's face burned, not just from the sting, but from the humiliation that crashed over her like a tidal wave. Tears blurred her vision as she bent to retrieve her glasses, her hands trembling. Vanessa laughed, her voice echoing. "That's what you get for thinking you belong here." Jake and Lila joined in, high-fiving her as they returned to their seats. The principal, flustered, called for order, but the damage was done. Mia sat there, frozen, the weight of every stare pressing down on her. In that moment, she felt smaller than ever, a fragile sketch on the verge of being erased. The aftermath was a blur of emotions. Mia fled the auditorium as soon as the assembly ended, locking herself in a bathroom stall where she sobbed until her chest ached. Alex found her there, pounding on the door. "Mia, open up. It's me." She let him in, collapsing into his arms. "Why me, Alex? What did I ever do?" He held her, his own eyes misty. "Nothing. They're the broken ones, not you." But words couldn't mend the fracture in her spirit. That night, at home, Sarah wrapped ice on Mia's cheek and listened as the story poured out. "We're going to the principal tomorrow," Sarah declared, her voice steely. Mia nodded, but fear gnawed at her. What if it backfired? What if the bullies retaliated harder? The next day, the school buzzed with rumors. Vanessa was suspended for a week, a slap on the wrist that only fueled her rage. Jake and Lila got detentions, but the real punishment came in whispers. Mia was now the girl who got slapped, a label that followed her like a shadow. Challenges mounted. Mia's confidence plummeted. She skipped classes, her grades slipping as anxiety took hold. Nightmares plagued her sleep, replaying the slap in endless loops. At home, Sarah struggled too, juggling work and the emotional toll, worrying if she was failing as a parent. Alex tried to rally support, starting a secret petition among the quieter students to stand against bullying, but fear kept many silent. Yet, amid the darkness, a seed of change took root. Mia, staring at her bruised reflection one evening, remembered her mother's words about strength. She picked up her sketchbook, not to escape, but to confront. She drew the scene, the auditorium, the crowd, the slap. But this time, she added herself standing tall, her hand extended not in anger, but in invitation. "What if I respond with kindness?" she whispered to herself. It sounded absurd, but the idea grew. Inspired by a book Alex lent her about nonviolent resistance, Mia decided to turn the tables not with fists, but with empathy. Her first challenge was facing the school again. With Alex by her side, she returned, head held high despite the stares. In art class, she shared her drawing publicly for the first time, explaining, "This happened to me, but it doesn't define me. Bullying hurts, but maybe understanding why it happens can heal us all." The class fell silent, then a few nods emerged. One girl, Emma, who had laughed during the incident, approached Mia later. "I'm sorry. I didn't think about how it felt. It was a small victory, but it sparked something." Vanessa's return brought new trials. Furious at her suspension, she cornered Mia in the hall. "You snitched, freak. This isn't over." Mia's heart raced, but she met Vanessa's eyes. "I didn't snitch to hurt you. I just wanted it to stop. Why do you hate me so much?" Vanessa faltered, her mask cracking. For the first time, vulnerability showed. Rumors of her parents' divorce, the pressure to be perfect. "You don't know anything," she spat, but stormed off without further aggression. Mia pressed on, organizing a kindness chain club with Alex's help. They invited students to share stories anonymously, fostering empathy. Challenges arose. Low turnout at first, sabotage from Jake who vandalized their posters, and Mia's own doubts when old wounds reopened. One night, overwhelmed, she broke down to Sarah. "What if I'm just making it worse?" Sarah held her. "Change isn't easy, but it's worth it. Look how far you've come." Slowly, the tide turned. Lila, Vanessa's sidekick, defected after a heartfelt talk with Mia, revealing her own bullying past. "I joined them to fit in, but it feels awful." Together, they confronted Jake, who admitted his bravado hid insecurities about his failing grades. The club grew, drawing even teachers' support. The principal, impressed, integrated anti-bullying workshops. The climax came at the talent show. Mia, once terrified of the stage, performed a spoken-word piece about her experience, ending with, "One slap tried to break me, but kindness rebuilt us all." The audience, including Vanessa in the back row, erupted in applause. Vanessa approached afterward, tears streaming. "I'm sorry. Really. It wasn't instant forgiveness, but a bridge built." Months later, Lincoln High transformed. Bullying incidents dropped, replaced by acts of kindness. Mia, now a leader, graduated with honors, her art portfolio earning a scholarship. Vanessa sought therapy